Meeting called to order at 7:05. And first on the agenda is the payroll warrant. That is warrant P-6 in the amount of $25,960.74.
Motion to accept. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next on the agenda is vendor warrant V-6. That is in the amount of $16,219.03. Please.
Make a
Any
motion
questions?
to accept. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda, building update.
Who's he doing?
Okay, anything in particular you want
Trim
to, okay,
and rug are the two things that
okay.
I recall.
The trim,
Thank you.
it's difficult for a contractor to realize what we really want without having something written up to kind of tell them what we want and get a reasonable price on it. Plus the fact that the contractors have been busy because the weather's been good, and they've been busy and have not responded, or have not really, that I know of, have come down to take a look at it. They've never notified me when they were coming. So what I'm going to have to do is to have to write something down.
Okay.
And determine exactly what we need. Do we want to take the gutters off, for instance, and put the vinyl up behind the gutters, as we really should do? But then if you take the gutters off, then is that going to cause a problem with the gutters because they're all one piece? And
I was under the impression they could just loosen the gutters and slide it up behind it.
well, some of the contractors say they want to do the job right, and in order to do it right, correctly, so that the water doesn't get behind it, they have to take the gutters off.
Okay.
So I know that we don't have that much money in the fund for this year right now.
Okay.
I think what we're going to have to do is get a price doing it the right way, the proper way, and getting it a price. And if it's over that $5,000, then we're going to have to go out and get that approved by the annual meeting.
Okay.
The floor is another thing. Basically, I'm not sure what kind of rug you want on there. I've talked to a number of people around, and I guess we had a full rug down there, and it was all one piece, and they cut it out and so on and so forth. What we should have, I think we should have is something it's a commercial grade that is maybe a Berber type rug that's,
Did you speak to Mr. Medeiros?
I have not been able to get a hold of him.
Okay. What he brought in was 24 by 24 inch
Squares.
commercial rug squares.
Mhm.
And the good thing about those is they're replaceable.
Right.
So if you get a bad stain in one spot,
Mhm.
and that's what the board at the time had approved,
Mm-hmm.
but no action was ever taken. It's a little bit more expensive, but what it will prevent is having to replace the whole rug as one piece down
Right.
the road.
I agree. That's
Now,
the thing that has to be done though. If you're going to put the stick down tiles, that floor downstairs has got to be scraped down because there's adhesive on it, and it's very rough finish.
that's going to be up to whoever installs it. They have
Yeah.
to come in.
They have exactly.
They have to come in and decide what to do.
If you put on a regular flooring with a padding, then obviously you probably wouldn't need to scrape it down. But this here, if you're going to put stick down tiles, then definitely you're going to have to scrape down the floor and level it in order to put those tiles down. So I
Do
just
you know
want to
the
determine
dimensions?
what. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 by 25, which is 650 square feet or something. Something like
So you're
that.
not going to be able to get just a rolled out carpet in one piece. It's going to be a seam down the middle.
Yeah, you'd
At
have to
least
put a
one
seam.
seam.
Yeah, right.
I just-
I agree with the suggestion of the squares because again, you can replace them and remove them, replace each. If you destroy one or whatever.
I just know a few people have voiced their opinion, including myself, and would like to have that done before staff comes in,
Yeah.
which is coming up pretty quickly. But we did budget, we did have the amount, a rough amount set.
Do you know how
To
much
do
the
the
amount was?
squares.
I don't.
No, Mr. Foster would have to give us that amount, but it wasn't the least expensive, that's for sure.
Well,
But in the long run, I believe it will be the least expensive.
that's right.
Because as spots get damaged, we can pull it up and just replace this. And normally they give you an extra dozen or so squares.
Was it over 5,000? No.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I wouldn't think it would be, but
So if you could talk to Mr. Foster, we've already voted on, correct? I believe that was before John was on board, but we voted to approve it and get it done.
okay.
I know Tyler Craft over in Fairhaven is in my closet, and they do sell and install that rug.
Okay.
Mr. Medeiros knows a couple of other places that do, so we should be able to get 3 quotes. And this time of year, they're pretty slow, so maybe we could get it
They
done.
had that, okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
we
the
can
weekly
try to get it
business
done.
and
I just, you can't go out to somebody and say how much, what are we going to do? And I don't know, they're going to obviously ask questions, and you're going to say, well, gee, I don't know. They look stupid.
Right.
So I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I know what the board wants, the district needs, or what they've talked about before, how much money they've got allocated to it, and then I can work from there.
You can check with Mr. Foster
Okay.
and what we want are the squares. And from there, blue squares, green squares.
Whatever. It's good. See, I didn't. Well, that was one of my thoughts was the squares, but I didn't know that was approved. Okay, I wasn't involved at that time,
Right.
so I could pursue that now. At least I know
Okay.
what we're looking for.
Okay. Anything else on building that?
No, I
We're
think
working
that's
on that.
looks
We
pretty
need to
well.
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty well sitting.
All right, very good. Next, did each of my board members receive the minutes from? Okay. Any changes to the minutes of November 9th? We have a second to accept the minutes of November 9th? All in favor? Okay. Drug and alcohol testing. I know you've met with South Coast?
Yeah.
For both of you?
The deputy and I met with Philomena Pimentel down at St. Luke's, and we talked about our policy as it stands now, which they believe is overemphasized. We talked about a couple of sample policies that just about everybody uses down there. One of them, of which was a Department of Transportation (DOT) policy, and it's pretty good, but it only refers to drivers because that's what the department is, obviously. So I think that this one is a little bit, it has to be reviewed again and added to. She gave us another sample policy, which is a non-DOT policy, which many of the organizations now use strictly like this is. After reviewing it with Deputy and myself and with her, we feel that this is the policy to go with. It's pretty close to what we had, except that some of the percentages, as far as the random screening, it's 50% rather than 100% per year. So every 2 years, 100% of the group will get it. But again, you never know when or whenever. The other thing that we found out and we have included is the fact that these letters cannot be given to someone who walks in or just outside washing his car or comes in, and it's got to be at a situation, it's a safety and it's a situation where we're active and we're doing something. There's something going on relative to the fire department.
Okay.
In other words, you have a tone and you're running and doing it, or you're driving a truck that belongs to the fire department, or driving a vehicle that belongs to the fire department. But if you come in your own vehicle and there's no fire and you just come into the station, you can't hand them a letter because they're not. That's kind of illegal. So, and I guess we've been doing that through the past. So I think the deputy and I have pretty much agreed upon this policy, although it's a sample policy, so we'd have to go through it and put in the proper nomenclature for the district and so on and so forth. This is XYZ company, for instance. So we'd have to go through this and kind of butter it up a little bit, but we feel that this policy is the policy that we'd like to have for the district.
Would that address the fact somebody has a glass of wine at dinner?
Yes.
6 hours
Yes.
later, there's a call. That person should be able to go to.
Yeah, it says basically, if I can find it here, I think it's if you're under 0.02%, there's no problem.
Okay.
Drive. If you're over 0.04%, you got 8 hours. You can't drive. So on and so. Okay, but it does address all of those numbers.
But I think this policy specifically pretty much pertains to percentages as opposed to time frames.
So
Such as we had also incorporated into ours.
0.04 is that one drink
No. Well,
every
it
2 hours?
explains in,
It does explain. There's a
but it doesn't necessarily say that there's a specific time frame associated that has to be weighted on also for another.
There must be some type of formula though. If you have one drink an hour, or one drink every 4 hours.
Well, it specifies specific limits, 0.02, 0.04, and so
Right.
forth like that, as far as being the acceptable.
It just doesn't say how many drinks equal .05.
No,
no,
because
it
that's
doesn't.
different for everybody, generally speaking.
Yeah,
Depends
because
on
of the size of the
size
person.
of the person and
we
different-
talked about that
different
at
situations.
Now, are we still doing random drug testing?
Well,
This is the same.
We're not now because the contractors run out.
Right, because I was gonna say, why can't we just run off of like the chief suspicion, I suspect,
Well, that's
work off
the
something
other
like that
thing.
And spend so much money
That's
sending all these guys for drug testing when just about everybody in there personally know, and it's a waste of money, to be honest with you. I mean,
yeah,
then again,
and I think we both agree
Right.
to that fact. And the fact is that's in here, and there's a statement in here, and there's so many pages here. There's 12 pages, but there's something about the supervisors and those people that are going to supervise or the chief or whatever should have some training on how to define or how to determine if a person is under the influence or has some problem. And I think we should do that. We should have the supervisors, lieutenants, captains, so on, so forth, go through a small test, not test, but a program to determine if those people are under the influence or anything. And then those people are the ones that can either specify that this person has to go or
Now, doesn't that fall back on the fire department? You have a safety officer which would say, hey, I think there might be a problem, and address it to the chief, say, hey, there might be a problem. This now it's addressed now to the chief's hands.
Yeah, but the thing with just being a safety officer, the fact is that if the person comes into the station, he's at the fire. Somebody here, an officer, should be able to determine whether he should, go in for the test or not be allowed to go on a vehicle.
So would that be a policy and procedure we need to change, or would that be in part of this?
No, I think it's
Would it be
basically
written in
in
this?
part of this, and I think that's when John and I go over this, that's where we want to amend some of the things in here or add to it.
So who can send somebody?
Correct.
If
Yes.
yeah. Who can send somebody and say,
Yes.
that's it, I think you are,
Yep.
Mr. LeDuc, take that person to St. Luke's right now.
Yep.
And that's it. He goes and gets tested.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's basically all we need. I don't think we have to have a real strict policy. I mean, this is.
No, I mean,
You
cut
know-
it down to, once every 2 years.
Yeah,
In
I think
having
it's-
that
yep.
enforced, I mean,
Yep, it's
we
a-
need to have something enforced.
It's a 50%. It's a 50% deal where 50% of the people randomly go the first year, and then the next year the others go. And even if that's a random deal, but if in fact somebody is under the influence or is surmised to be, then you can send them
Anytime.
anything.
Post-accident testing also.
Yeah. Any post-accident, it does define in here, any post-accident, whatever, it's you go.
Oh, exactly. There's an accident, you automatically.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be, okay. What I'd like would be a motion that as soon as they complete,
Table it till next month.
no, as soon as they complete it, we send it to the attorney to be reviewed. And if we can get it, you are trying to get this up and running.
To be honest with you, I mean, I think this has been reviewed by attorneys
attorney?
and by attorneys from South Coast. All right, this is pretty much covered by them.
So, but next
And I honestly don't think that we need to send this to an attorney. I think just the things that we're going to add are minor things. Dartmouth District 1, very few.
who can send, who has the
Yeah,
right to
exactly,
send, who.
exactly. I don't think you need an attorney for that.
Okay.
And obviously we can save money on that.
Okay.
And,
So
and
for
then
instance-
and then what we'll do is before we turn it over, we ask you to look at it, we're gonna go back to St. Luke's, have them review it, and then finalize it, and then present it for, acceptance.
Next month, most
Yes, yeah.
likely. Okay.
And then each and every firefighter will receive a copy.
Absolutely,
Finalized
absolutely.
and sign and whatever if they have to sign.
And if there's a training class for supervisors,
Yeah,
you'll set it up.
I think they set it up at St. Luke's. They
Beautiful.
can do that. There's employee signature papers in here already that are ready to.
Any price discussion on?
No, we
prices,
didn't. We
or-
did not because they really didn't know how or what we wanted, whether it was going to be 50% or 100% per year or what. And I just feel I think when we go there
But
with
next
this,
month we'll have a better idea.
then we'll have an idea of what it's going to cost.
I think
Probably going to save us a lot of money as
Yeah.
far as, because we were just sending like 5 people at random, we were paying them a 3-hour minimum for going, plus the drug test, or was it 4 hours? 4-hour minimum plus the drug test, when it was unnecessary, you know, a lot of.
No,
Yeah,
well,
I mean, it's
the
good to have a
last,
program, but I don't think that a random thing is like one of these guys come in at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night for a fire. Hey, you gotta go for a drug because you came through the door and your paper's sitting there waiting for you. The next time you show up, you're there at midnight. And then you know how it is over at St. Luke's at night. You know, leaving at 4 in the morning. You know? So
or if they
you
were
can't-
here washing their car or picking up their paycheck, we have no need to.
No,
send
had
So
no
that kind
need.
of almost goes back to the old bylaw is suspicion. Pretty much that you can act on it.
Yep.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, that takes care of that one. Next, on to the IT.
Yeah, you making a motion before?
No need to make a motion because we are not going to send it out for review because St. Luke's has already reviewed it. They're going to review it one more time. If they say it's okay, we'll go forward with that from that point. So we'll move on to the IT. You both have a report from Mr. Asaccio. Reporting the upgrades that he has made. We did have a repair that had to be done this past month, and that was to the fire alarm system for the card. That configurator card is what he calls it. It left out, so there was no, can we replace it, should we, it had to be replaced. He was able to get the price of the card from $3,700 down to $26.95. Yeah, that's not a, there was no, anyone here from the active? No. The only way to get the fire alarm systems back up and running was to fix it.
That's correct. That card has been an issue for quite a while. Resulted in a couple pretty catastrophic crashes. When we have a failure, our whole system is down. And it's something that's just been dragging along and frankly should have been done quite some time back. Due primarily to the increase in the number of computers and everything that we have on the system, really. It's just overwhelmed what we had available previously.
Okay. So do we need to vote on that? Is that out of support of the district? Am I just making my board aware of that?
That would come out of support of the district. That's correct. That would be under fire alarm maintenance.
So we find, see if we get any better prices on these than what he's already gotten.
I think with that, did you change?
Yeah, it's also through Abby Allen. It's pretty much.
Yeah. RB Allen and Digitize, they're pretty much the only people that are that deal with that in this area.
Yeah.
Trying to squeeze money, I know you say.
Yeah, I know.
Bad.
You know, you can, but there's certain things that are so.
They pretty much service that
sole
exclusively,
source,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's kind
Make
of
a
hard.
motion to accept it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
The other, the next thing that he had on his agenda was install an automatic voice transmitter, a voice enunciator for that system, and that is the amount of $1,067.50. That would be when the system did crash. If it did crash, this is a backup to. Does it call people? Does it just put it out on the
Gives
radio?
an automated message over the radio system.
So that if you hear it, you can come in to fix it or get somebody.
Basically, right now, certain members get texted and so forth like that, but this would broadcast it out to all members that in fact we had an issue with regard to a toning system and what have you. And the installation of this would be done by East Coast Electronics, who maintains our radio system here, as opposed to the digitizer. They work in conjunction with RB Allen.
So it's a backup safety system.
This is a backup, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, is that coming out of the district, or is that for that?
This would come out of the same account. This is
I would support it.
supported
Because I don't think we gave him a budget for this type of thing. But it would be a backup safety.
This is all upstairs, if you will, fire alarm as opposed to some of the IT things that are
Right.
going on down.
I think it's just modernizing what we have and bringing it more up to date.
I'm going to motion to accept it.
That's it. All in favor? I think that pretty much covers the IT. Special legislation. I didn't think it was necessary to have the attorneys here today. What he would like to know is, are we going to go forward? Are we going to ask him to write up the special legislation and the warrant so that we could present that to the voters at this year's annual meeting instead of having a special meeting? He could have both things written up, so if the voters approve, going to the legislative body, asking for a strong chief with a certain term. If the voters approve it, we can proceed right away. And that way he can say to the voters, this is what we're going to send to the legislature. Do you approve it or not? Not just saying this is the idea and then getting the voters to approve it and then saying, okay, let's send it out. We can give the voters exactly the exact wording that we want to send to the legislative body in what we're asking for, which would be a work in progress. And that's why he feels if we keep the regular meeting, if we give him the permission to begin writing it, we can look at it as a board. We can ask for changes. By the time the meeting comes around, it would be the finished product.
Did he give us an estimate as to what it would cost?
No, it did not.
I know the strong chief thing, there's a lot of terms in there and ways of doing things. I mean, the strong chief, is the strong chief, like the act or the contract, that's still done as far as like just cause and I mean, I don't know if we should just leave it alone or
Well, the problem I have personally, and as a board member and as a taxpayer, is the tenure for life. So, other than that, I'm not educated enough in the strong chief statute to say, I want this changed also, I want that changed.
But I think if a chief was doing such a bad job and he's got written up, I guess, several times as just cause, I mean, you'd still get rid of him.
But the problem is it would become a
I mean,
more
this is a
litigious.
question.
No, right. My issue,
No.
my issue with that is that would become more litigious, getting rid of them. Did you properly,
Do it right.
document?
Well, that's when you.
Did you cover it? Who's going to be here? Is it going to be the three of us? Is it going to be
You have,
three
you
total?
have to have a
different
public
people?
hearing. You have to have
Yeah.
a public hearing.
Yeah, you have to do 48 hours. And that's why that whole thing, I feel that they should just change it for the whole state. But we should be asking to limit that, because town-wide, that's the direction the town is moving in, is to eliminate that type of contract from anybody.
I just don't want to make a change to where if somebody didn't like, say we hire a new chief and 5 years down the road, the board didn't like this guy and they pulled together and just eliminate him. I mean, that's kind of, it's a job that, I don't know, it's tough.
I understand, but
It should be more than, I think, just the board that should be able to decide to eliminate the chief, but I mean, it's,
What would we do for a situation where there's bad morale because of the chief?
that's where you would have to find out why it is. Why is it bad morale?
But we wouldn't have the instrument to remove him. This allows you to have the instrument to remove someone if the morale is bad, such that there's no end in sight.
I can understand.
There's two sides.
Yeah, I can understand your point. I'm just trying to understand why. Again, I don't know all the laws of the strong chief, but I don't know why everybody is a strong chief. There's got to be a reason for it. Is it because if he's not a strong chief, he doesn't feel he has the power over his guys that he should have because he feels like he's walking on glass? Or will he still have the same power and not be afraid to?
see, if he's a strong chief, it gives him the power to run the department
Correct.
as he sees fit.
Right.
If it's a weak chief, it gives this board the power to run the department more so, which is not what I'm seeking, which I don't recommend.
Right.
I have no firefighting experience. It should be a strong chief, but I don't think you should hire somebody off the street and give them a job for life, because he can walk a fine line.
What I
and
think
himself.
what I think you really need is to have, for instance, a 3-year contract. And if you're doing a good job, you just renew the contract.
That's what I was.
If you're
saying.
doing a lousy
Right,
job,
right,
and you
right.
have, I think you still have to have a hearing.
Right.
Okay, you still have to have a hearing to get rid of them, but you've got that opportunity after 3 years to get rid of them.
Not under the current strong chiefs.
No, the way you have it now, it really should.
Contracts don't make a difference. The only thing we could do at the end of the contract is vote to pay him $1 a year,
$1 a year,
Yeah.
which will open up litigation, which would open this department up.
Yeah.
So now instead of paying somebody, you're paying the lawyers.
And when somebody takes the job and he knows that there's a 3-year contract, then there's something that's going to make him think before he does something or he doesn't do something.
Right.
And you've got that opportunity to get rid of him if that's the fact that he doesn't do his job. If he doesn't do his job, and you really don't want to push it too much, he's got a job for a long time.
Right.
And I agree with you. I don't think that it should be guaranteed to have a job till you die or get out of here or whatever, decide to leave.
It just sounded like it's going to be years before you can actually even get this all accomplished.
I don't think so. I think with just a single department going for legislation of change, and it depends on our reps. I think it'll go pretty quickly. I feel. I mean, other districts and departments have done things similar to that, and it's only dealing with the district, and if it's no big deal, it'll generally go well.
And like I said, I don't understand the whole strong chief part of it as far as he's
Yeah.
capable of.
Well, I think a lot of towns are getting away from, as you probably heard in the last few meetings, they're getting away from strong chiefs merely because of the tenure. And if we're able to change that tenure and keep the strong chief, that'd be perfect,
Right.
I don't know why. Again, you're right. I don't know why the state just doesn't change the whole thing.
Right.
Because, everybody is going to that non-tenure type of jobs, in cities and towns and
Right.
departments and whatever.
Mr. Takuda?
Has your board inquired with the attorney on when the next legislative session would be?
This is all what he would be working on. This is what, and he
Because
would,
there's a timeline within that frame to get it done.
Yeah.
absolutely. But it's kind of, we can't do too much before the voters approve it. The voters could come in here and say, no, we want to go back to elected, which we'd all moan and groan at, but that's the right of the voters.
Well,
So,
yeah, they could, but a well-informed public is the best thing.
absolutely. And that's why DCTV is here. So, what I'm asking today is for permission from my board to let the, I think the attorney's correct in saying we shouldn't just put a question on the ballot. We should present the final product. And in order to do that, we should get started now. You know,
I don't think the district wants us to give us an open checkbook to the attorney. I'd like
No?
to have some type of guidelines on what it's going to cost us to move forward.
okay.
And then I'd say yes or no. I just can't say whatever to
Okay.
an open checkbook.
What I will do then is I will ask him to get me some out, you know, get an idea of what it would be.
It sounds like we have to outline ahead of time some things we want to see in it first. You know, we have one main, no tenure, but are there other things that we should pull Feynman about what should be in there so that it can run smoother and quicker so the attorney doesn't have to come back to us and ask those questions.
If you're going to keep strong chief as strong chief, then you're not going to change anything.
Okay.
You don't want to change anything.
No.
The only thing that we want to change, I'm assuming, is the tenure.
That's the
And
problem I have. with it, so.
I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, it doesn't take much to remove a section and then add another section. It just has to go through the legislature. And if we can convince Chris Markey and have him work on that, then I think it'll fly through. Because it's better for us because of the type of chief that you would have, and it's better for us monetarily. I think, you know, we don't have to go through what we just went through.
Right. And, you know, there's no litigation.
Right.
Contracts out.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. And
Yep.
okay.
I don't think it would take an attorney an awful long time to come up with what we want to do. I don't think it's a...
No, I don't think so, but I understand and I respect John's,
I don't think it would take an awful long time to
you
If
change.
we're
know,
only-
looking for an estimate.
If we're only doing what Marcel says, then fine.
You know,
That's great.
if you want to do some research,
And lawyers, they're paid by the hour, and they're paid by the hour.
you know, if you do look through it and you want some different, you know, you want to question the lawyer on different things or maybe make some changes, he may have some other suggestions that would benefit the department, being a lawyer. But there's a lot of lawyers out there on the street, the Monday morning lawyers. And if we start chasing down all of their legal advice, that's what's going to raise our lawyer fees, because a lot of them are unfounded or not correct, or but I mean, if there's a few points that need to be pointed out or questions or concerns, we can address that. But I'll get an estimate from him for the next meeting.
Can I have a copy of the existing contract we would have with a strong chief right now, so we can start reviewing it?
It's in the it's in the Mass General laws.
Okay.
You get it right out of the computer.
See if there's going to be insurance. Then I'll get a copy of that to the attorney.
Okay. Okay. Very good. That takes care of that. Next is the tax rates have been set, and we're all set. They've been signed off on.
Happy Building went down 1 penny from 34 to 33 cents. So that's a plus.
33 cents. Okay. I remember that. that takes care of tax rates. That's it. We're all set till next year. And that's it. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.